Alright folks, buckle up for a wild ride through World War II, the sequel no one ever wanted but everyone got. Beginning with a struggling artist and ending with some extremely unlikely friends. Now even if you know literally nothing about history, you do know about the famous villain linked with World War II. Recognize these guys with their catchy symbol? That's right. It's history's and Hollywood's high-stepping hoodlums, the Nazis. And what are the Nazis without their leader? Remember him? You know, huge ego, not a fan of minorities, wants to rule the world, a bit shouty. No, not that one. Yep, that's the one. Adolf Hitler. So how did an egotistical art student rise up to rule Germany? How did he manage to unite 3 of its former enemies and take over most of Europe and lots of the rest of the world in just 6 years? Let's find out. Welcome back to our channel, where we make history fun with a little comedy thrown in just for the laughs. Today we will be covering the start of World War II. Now back to our main guy, Adolfi. Despite his terrible mustache and even more questionable fashion choices, he knew he needed friends in order to get what he wanted. Friends meant more armies, and more armies meant more winning. But after the PR disaster that was World War I, Germany was about as popular as the weird kid at school. You know, they just play in their own league. So how did a loser manage to wrangle a tight-knit group of ride or dies with an unbreakable friendship pact who would literally kill for him from nothing? Let me help you out. To know how Adolfi got his friends or allies, first you gotta know the other kids in the playground. Let's start with the Italian hothead and a schoolyard bully, Benito Mussolini. This guy was a gifted speech giver and an avid socialist wanting to overthrow European monarchy, who was famously anti-war. Until he wasn't. His party did not like that and kicked him out. So he changed allegiance from a socialist to what he called a fascismo, or what we call a fascist. So what the heck is a fascism? Well, imagine someone is running a country like a bad game of Monopoly. They want all the properties, won't let anyone else play by their own rule. Hey handsome, need a cut? And if you disagree with them, they will just flip the board. They love strict order and control, think freedom of speech is overrated, and usually have a weird obsession with uniforms and parades. So back to Italy. They had played on the winning side, the Allies in World War I, but they were frustrated. They had not gained the land they wanted. Hey bro, you know the war is over, so can I get the land I was promised? What land, bruv? Had a weak government and they were broke. So when Mussolini said he could fix it all, he won lots of votes and quickly became the most popular kid in the school. In 1922, he marched all his new mates to Rome and bullied the king into making him prime minister. He then swiftly silenced all opposition and made himself Europe's first fascist leader, or as is formerly known, dictator. Oh yeah, he's bald now. Now, Mussolini may have been the first fascist dictator, but his kindred spirit, angry art nerd Hitler, was about to spring on the scene. You see, Germany was going through something very similar to Italy, but unlike them, they were on the losing side of the First World War and had been royally screwed by the Treaty of Versailles. They had lost land, had to reduce their army to just 100,000 men, demolished their air force, demilitarized areas, and paid the Allies an insane $800 million in reparations, which makes this area of the world broke, politically weak, and about as tense as a fart after Taco Bell. So when a shouty small man with an even smaller mustache came along saying he could fix it, people loved it. He founded a party with his own brand of fascism, and he too marched on the capital hoping to take control, but he was arrested. Stop. This bad boy's image just enhanced his reputation and his popularity grew and grew until in 1933 he was made Chancellor of Germany. Once in power, he created a dictatorship and Europe had its second fascist dictator. Now Mussolini and Hitler had enough beliefs in common for a firm friendship, but what really made them BFFs was having the same enemies. But before they could take revenge, they needed one more ally. The bully and the bad boy initially had their eyes on a fellow dictator, Franco, to join their little boy band. This cold, serious Spanish general would have complemented the group perfectly, but he was a bit distracted fighting in country and decided to remain neutral. Hey Franco. Yes? Wanna join us? Nah, I'm neutral. Leaving Mussolini and Hitler high and dry. So, who raises their hand to be a part of this unholy trinity? The most unlikely kid, another former World War I ally, a shy geek who literally never speaks in class. It's deathly strict and humorless emperor Hirohito of Japan. He hates the Allies for screwing him out of land and stopping him invading Korea and Northeast China back in World War I. And even though he's got the most of it back, he's looking for more. Germany and Italy are in dilemma. They don't really want to hang out with this intense weird kid, but you know, sometimes just shrug your shoulders and think, what's the worst that could happen? He's not going to fight over any of Europe with them, he just wants the whole Asia, so sure, deal. An alliance is forged between the dastardly trio, Italy, Germany and Japan, and they make it official in 1936.
Hey, you with the glasses, want to say something?
Yeah, sure. Anti-Comintern Pact. This is based on three things. 1. They want more land and wealth. 2. They all think they're racially superior to countries around them. 3. They really super duper hate the Allies. So they begin to plot, and it all starts in Europe, in Germany, with part 1 of the plan. Have you ever just want to break all the rules and fuck the consequences? Well, this is like that, but the consequences are a million times worse than just being grounded. Germany is done with following the Treaty of Versailles, so it decides to break every single one of the rules. Hitler sets up an air force called Luftwaffe, conscript soldiers.
Congratulations, young man. You're hired in the army.
But sir, I never applied. Oh,
Okay, but you're hired.
and send soldiers into demilitarized zone, and Europe does nothing. Over time, Adolf's army builds and builds, which leads Hitler onto part 2 of his plan, growing the German race. Hitler thinks Germans are the master race and they need to take over the world as the correct type of people. But to do that, he needs land, so he thinks, what is the closest? What can I take? The Allies see his thought process and begin to worry, so they come up with a super intelligent plan that will definitely stop him. It's powerful, it's bold, it's called Appeasement. What the heck is appeasement, you ask? Well, let me spell it out. Britain's Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain did not want to be part of another war, so instead of clamping down on Germany's parade of red flags, his diplomatic strategy was to just let it slide. Which, back in 1938, was considered a stroke of genius.
We all create mistakes. God, they were only tiny, small things. It's not a big deal. Hitler just moved an army into Austria and just take it.
Fuck! Still, the Allies did nothing. Then my boy Adolphe said he wanted an area of Czechoslovakia called Sudetenland.
We need a little bit of Czechoslovakia. That's for cultivation purposes.
So the Allies held a meeting and said he could have it, as long as he signed a bit of a paper called the Munich Agreement, saying he would not invade the rest of Czechoslovakia. So he did. Fuck! Anyway, it's not just Europe that our fearless band of brothers have been busy targeting. Italy wants to flex a bit of military might as well, but wants to start easy. Abyssinia in Africa, what you know as Utopia, and unsurprisingly, they take it. They also want to control the entrance of the Adriatic Sea opposite Italy.
So this is your area.
Yes, sir.
Would you give it to me?
No, sir.
Hmm.
Oops.
So they overthrow the incredible king named King Zog, taking Albania in 1939.
Mario, okay.
Not to be outdone, in the Far East, Japan is getting on the action. It starts with some beef with China over what's called the Marco Polo Bridge incident. Then they sweep across China, taking Beijing, Shanghai, and finally in 1937, its capital at the time, Nanking. Here they commit what's considered some of the most horrific war crimes against the Chinese people for 6 weeks, raping up to 80,000 and murdering up to 300,000 innocent civilians. All in all, considering the World War has not yet even officially started, back in the West, another pact of friendship is being written, the Pact of Steel, saying that Germany and Italy will be besties forever. This makes Hitler feel even braver, and so he thinks it's time to take on an enemy, Poland. Poland annoys the hell out of Germany because after the First World War they were given a land that splits Germany in half. Hitler wants it back, with the rest of the Poland too.
Don't you dare.
The Allies clearly give more fucks about Poland than Austria or Czechoslovakia and decide to really put their foot down. They warn Hitler that if he moves against Poland, there will be war, which puts him in a bit of a bind. Hitler really doesn't want to fight a war on 2 fronts, against Britain and France to the west and the Soviet Union to the east. So he gets sneaky. He knows the leader of Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin, also wants Poland, so he makes him a deal. They will both invade Poland from each side and split it equally. For now. This deeply odd alliance shocked Britain and France, but Hitler did not care, and on the 1st of September 1939 he sent troops into Poland. That, despite fighting hard, was crushed. So Britain and France declared war on Germany, and the Second World War officially began. So, what's coming next? Would this speedy attack kick off others around the world?